Hello friends, today in the issue, music for Alexandra Trusova's new programs has been announced. Ateri Tutberidz's daughter will perform at the American tournament. New details in the doping case of Kamila Valieva. Well, now about everything in order. The music for the new programs of the Olympic silver medalist in women's figure skating Alexandra Trusova in the upcoming 2022-23 season has become known. Trusova's short program will be performed to the blues composition "I Put a Spell on You" with female vocals. For the free program, the skater chose the soundtrack from the movie Nerves on the Limit, High Strung, which is performed on the violin. Trusova will present new programs at the test skates, which are scheduled for September 24 to 25 in Moscow. Together with her, other skaters of the Russian national team will also show new programs. Last season, Trusova skated a short program to the music from the film Frida, and for the free program she reincarnated as Cruella, performing to the soundtracks from the tape of the same name. Russian dance duo Diana Davis and Gleb Smolkin are planning to perform at the Challenge Cup tournament in Ardmore, USA, which will be held from 22 to 25 September. Reported by The Skating Lesson. The tournament is a qualifier for the U.S. Championship. Athletes who do not have U.S. citizenship may participate in the Challenge Cup, but are not eligible to earn qualifying points from the competition. Davis is the daughter of the honored coach of Russia Ateri Tutberidze. Smolkin is the son of Russian actor Boris Smolkin. In the 2021-2022 season, Davis and Smolkin made their senior debuts. At the Russian Championships in St. Petersburg, the skaters took second place and were selected for the Russian national team for the World and European Championships, as well as the 2022 Olympic Games in Beijing, China. At the Championship of the Continent, they became the 7th, and in Beijing they took the 14th place. Earlier it was reported that Davis married her partner Gleb Smolkin on March 18 in Nevada. The skaters themselves, as well as their close circle, did not confirm the news. The case of violation of anti-doping rules by Kamila Valieva is gradually moving towards its conclusion. On Wednesday, Ruzeta announced the end of the investigation. However, in the United States, they were unexpectedly dissatisfied with this development of events and the lack of sanctions against the athlete. Thus, the head of the American Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, Travis Tygart, suggested that sufficient evidence of the girl's guilt had been found. Given that the Ruzeta investigation has apparently been completed and the case is now being prepared for hearings, enough evidence of a violation has been found, otherwise the case would have been closed, and WADA has been notified of its right to appeal. The publication quotes the functionary as saying USA Today. Moreover, he lamented that the U.S. figure skaters, who finished second in the Beijing Olympic team tournament, would have to wait too long for their awards if they were taken away from the victorious Russians. Due to such a serious delay in the administration of justice since the Winter Olympics, other athletes are deprived of their rights and the opportunity to receive a medal. And in the short term, there is no end in sight, Tygart added. In turn, the Director General of the U.S. National Olympic Committee, Sarah Hirshland, also expressed concern that all interested parties would have to wait a long time for the final verdict. The situation is still outrageous. Yesterday we saw Ruzeta announce disciplinary hearings. That's all we know. I don't have any details. There may be hearings, then, of course, appeals are possible, so I'm afraid everything will drag on for some more time, said Hirshland. Meanwhile, domestic fans can only be glad that things have finally moved forward. Ruzeta said that the hearings would begin in late September, early October. They will be held in the Disciplinary Anti-Doping Committee. Investigation completed. Currently, the Results Management Department, in accordance with the established rules and procedures, is preparing the necessary documents for organizing hearings, said Veronika Lajanova, head of the Russian Anti-Doping Agency. She promised that the organization, considering all the circumstances, is going to rely on the current rules and international standards. I think this will end normally for all parties when we can confidently say that all the rules and requirements have been met. Because for each case, for each specific condition, there are rules and standards that say what the sanction should be and whether it should be in principle, added Lajanova. She also assured that Ruzeta is constantly in touch with colleagues from WADA in this situation, and the country strictly adheres to the plan of the higher Organization for Recovery. However, with regard to forecasts on the final decision, at the moment even specialized lawyers find it difficult to make them. For example, according to the former General Director of Ruzeta Anna Ancelayevich, it can be anything from a complete justification to a ban on participation in any competition under the auspices of the International Skating Union, ISU. There are chances, firstly, that there was no violation, if it is proved that there were some errors, deviations from the standards that led to adverse test results. Second, there could be no fault or negligence on the part of the athlete. Then she is recognized as having violated the doping rule, but without a sanction. The next option is minor fault or negligence. Since she is a protected person, she has sanctions from a reprimand to 2 years. And the fourth, the worst, if a deliberate reception is established, there will be standard sanctions, like all adult athletes, 4 years. The lawyer listed the options. But she called the lengthy period of investigation of the case the norm, since the anti-doping agency does not cooperate with law enforcement agencies and does not have such powers. The investigation is a mandatory stage, since in this situation we are talking about a minor. Moreover, not just about a minor, but about a protected person, such terms are actually standard. Therefore, now the stage has ended, and they are already moving on to the legal one, processing the results in hearings, Ancelayevich added. It is curious that the opinions of experts on this issue are divided. For example, European champion Sergei Nowitzki expressed surprise that the investigation dragged on for so long. It's hard for me to judge this, but perhaps the IOC just intends to drag out time to wait for the situation in the world to change. And then it will make sense to give the medal to Valieva and her partners in the Russian team for the team tournament or not to give it. So far, there is no understanding on this issue. I think that the International Olympic Committee does not want to succumb to the influence of politicians. But I don't really understand why the process is taking so long. It is clear that the state bureaucratic machine is extremely clumsy, but all deadlines have already passed, Nowitzki complained. But the Olympic champion Natalia Bestemianova, on the contrary, called it a common practice. Not a single case like this was sorted out quickly. Look at the terms of proceedings in other similar cases. Some even lasted for years. I hope that politics will not be involved in this matter. Although no one can give such guarantees now, even the IOC itself, said Bestemianova. At the same time, both agreed that what is happening is unlikely to have a strong negative impact on Valieva. According to Nowitzki, at the Beijing Olympics, she experienced a real horror, after which doping trials would not scare her. It seems to me that Kamila in this regard must cope with the pressure. What is happening now is in no way comparable to what she experienced between the short and free programs of the individual tournament at the Beijing Olympics. Just remember what state she was in. All proceedings in the IOC are flowers compared to this, added the European champion.